Maine has a problem, and the people in charge are counting on you to stay quiet about it. Taxes, housing, corruption, jobs, healthcare, the issues pile up while the headlines keep spinning. But two voices refuse to look away. The Angry Citizen, the CPS Punisher. Maine Matters is the podcast that doesn't flinch. Real talk, real accountability, no filters. The truth about your state starts here.
Maine Matters, hosted by the Angry Citizen and the CPS Punisher. We ain't here to play nice with the corrupt. This is for every Mainer who's had enough. From Berwick to Bangor, Augusta to the coast. The truth is rising, and the rot is getting exposed. In the Pine Tree State, they got that fresh air facade, but dig a little deeper, it's a house of cards. Prison bosses stealing 2.4 million from the state, bribes and kickbacks while the inmates wait. Main care fraud, 45 million in autism scams, improper payments, Republicans raising alarms. EBT clones stealing benefits from the poor, while Augusta politicians keep asking for more. Cheryl Merrill sentence, but how many more free? The swamp and corrections running wild, you see? Then there's DHS, supposed to protect the kids, but Braxton Smith murdered in the system. Hid Chelsea killings, a team with 16 homes in the system. Failed by the state, now 2 more victims. May Supreme Court saying they terminated rights on hearsay. Drug tests never entered, but they took the kids away. DHS mom in the abuse case, oversight of drug page saying clean house, the whole damn place broke. Child welfare failures, every week a new death, while they traffic kids in suits, holding their breath. And in Berwick, they burned us down and locked the gate. Fire at Raleigh's Run, 18 cats displaced. Town says dangerous, but won't let us in to save. Insurance denied, now they want the land we paid. Federal lawsuit filed, wavy Berwick on deck. 14th Amendment violations, they showing no respect. Rebel pit coming 20 trucks a day through town. Residents fighting back while the board plays around. Zoning as a weapon, nuisance complaints for show. Retaliation for the podcast, they tried to take my daughter, yo. Nina Ann lost the CPS, revenge for speaking truth, but the Punisher's here, and we got the proof. Maine Matters, but the corruption don't. We see through the lies, we won't stay silent no more. Angry citizens spitting CPS Punisher, attacking, exposing the thieves in Augusta and the child snatchers in black. Rise up, man. Grab the Constitution tight, due process, property rights. We taking back the fight from the pines to the sea. The reckoning's here. Maine Matters dropping tropes. Lend us your ear. They deny access, they steal your kids, they fraud the funds, but we got the First Amendment. These words are guns. File the motions, drop the episodes, build the app strong. The CPS Punisher's here to right every wrong. No more dead kids, no more stolen homes, no more bribes in prisons of fraud in the domes. We the people, the angry ones who say time to drain the swamp in the state of Maine. This is Maine Matters with the Angry Citizen and the CPS Punisher. Download the app at cpspunisher.com. Follow the fight, share the truth, join the revolution. Because in Maine, the truth still matters. And we coming for the corrupt, one podcast at a time. Yeah, Maine Matters.
All right.
All right.
Here we are, my man.
Here we are.
Welcome to Maine Matters.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, Thomas Bain's in the house already. Look at that. Thomas Bain.
What's up, Thomas Bain?
Thomas Bain, the man from Maine that got himself blown up by them. I'll tell you. What do you think of this? Do you remember, Dana, do you remember when this was the vacation land? It was supposed to, and it was also once what were things they used to call it?
Pine Tree State.
Pine Tree State, yeah, but they called
Pine Tree State, yeah.
Yeah. And it used to say like, oh, yeah, the way life should be. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
where we are now. The way life should be.
Yeah. And if it means by going to jail, getting arrested, paying taxes, getting your house blown up, then yes, it's the way life should be. Kind of like third world countries, maybe even a little bit.
for
Well,
some people for
Yeah,
sure.
you could go to Lewiston, and I think you would be worried about that. You know,
Yep.
Lewiston's out of control right now.
Yep.
Lewiston, where's another one of these states? These what do they call those cities? Sanctuary cities, right? Are they not?
Sanctuary cities. Yeah, they make a big deal about being compassionate, and this is an important thing, and I'm glad you brought it up because I want to talk about this. Among other things, there's a lot of ICE activity in Maine. There's a lot of people that really hate ICE, and the people that are critical of ICE act as if they are doing something very, very bad by finding and detaining and deporting people who are here unlawfully. And this is something that truly baffles me.
Hmm.
Uh, People, if you come to the United States in violation of our laws, you are what is called an illegal alien. I try to not use the word illegal. I try to use the word unlawful. It's a little more uh, technically accurate. But either way, you violate the law. You come here knowing that you're coming here in violation of our laws. You're a criminal, and I don't hate you. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care where you come from. You know, the bottom line, folks, America, we all need to be on the same page. You need to follow the law. That's all we're saying. Okay, if you want to come to the United States, a lot of people do, and that's understandable. If you look at our country in comparison to other countries, you know, it's still a pretty good place. That's why people want to come here. But if you come here in violation of the law, you're a criminal. And if you are objecting to criminals being arrested, I say there's something wrong with you. You know, and people act like, oh, there's no other way to come here. Like you can't come here, you know, and follow the law. Well, you can. I know it can be done. I've seen it done. I have a friend
You
who's from Brazil,
yeah.
and he came here, followed the laws, went through the proper procedures. He is now a United States citizen. He married a girl also from Brazil, and she recently had an interview and was granted her green card and is on her way to United States citizenship, lawfully obtained United States citizenship. And here in Maine, we have a lot of people who are here illegally, unlawfully. And if you're opposed to law enforcement arresting criminals, there's something wrong with you. You know, I really don't get it. And the people that uh, get angry about this are not bringing these people into their homes, right? They're not
Right.
offering their own home as a place for these people to live. They want someone else to handle the expense and the difficulty and potentially the danger. Some of these people are dangerous people.
I
And
can't walk around selling drugs on the street, even though it's a free market, right? And we're all about promoting business, but I can't walk around selling drugs and not expected to be arrested. It's that
exactly.
simple. Like I'm going to be arrested if you go by me and I'm selling crack and all of this stuff. They're going to come and pick me up. So it's
Yep.
no different than if you come into this country and try to live here and you didn't do what you were supposed to do to cross the border. Why is this so hard for anybody to understand? It's by me. Like, oh, they're people and they're this. Well, so am I. I'm just trying to sell drugs for a living. This is the choice that I've
Yep.
made, and this is what I'm doing. But you will look out your window and tell me, Mr. Policeman, there's a man selling drugs out here. So if there's a family that lives next door to you that is illegally here, why is it wrong to call the cops on them and say, look, they're illegally here. I'm here. I'm a law abiding citizen, and this isn't fair for them to be next to me.
Yeah. And
You know?
um, they talk about breaking up families is a phrase that's commonly used. You know, they arrest someone, and the children of that person are bereft of a father or a mother. Well, that's what happens when you commit crimes and get arrested for committing a
Yeah.
crime, and you
Maybe,
go to
maybe,
jail. It's not the
maybe,
police's fault.
right. Well, maybe these people should pay attention to the amount of kids that their own Department of Health and Human Services are taking into custody every day. And those numbers, I bet you, far surpass that of what ICE detains and breaks families apart. Let's talk about that. If you want to talk about families being broken apart and people being upset about that, we actually have a guest, Dana, waiting in the back right here. Um, that wants to join us on the show, and I think that that's something up his alley that he wanted to talk about. His name's Corey Shepard.
All right.
And let's bring him in and let's see what he has to say. Corey,
Hey.
how are you?
How you doing?
We're all right. You
Oh,
all
I
right?
thought I tried to meet you earlier, but I guess I was in the wrong place. But it's okay. I'm still here.
That's right. You're here, so that's
Here
perfect.
you are.
So what's going on, Corey? What do you got going on for this fine state that we have?
Well, just to give you guys a little history, the Department of Health and Human Services led me to believe that my son and myself, I had lost my parental rights, but they're 100% intact. And I had thought this for a couple of years. I had been, trying to do my best and my due diligence to get my son back, my family back. He has a brother and a sister as well. And it was to no end. And then come to find out, my son was being abused at this place called the Morrison Center, which is a state-funded facility for special needs children, where the bank had placed him. This is Bangor Savings Bank. That he was being abused. And how I found this out was from the investigator from the Department of Health and Human Services who called me, and we spoke for a couple hours, trying to figure out how to get my son back to me, because his brother and sister were in Arizona where his mother was. And that was the last I heard from her.
Wow.
Then months later, I was speaking to my son in Arizona, and he was like, yeah, Mom came and picked up Zane and dropped him off at CPS in Arizona.
What?
What?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
first of all, did you say that the bank placed him?
Yes. My son had a trust. Well, has a trust through Bangor Savings Bank. And what started this whole thing off was the fact that I wasn't receiving any financial updates, no quarterly reports or anything on what they were doing with his trust as far as they're investing it through the Katie Beckett program. And when I started inquiring into that, and I have a bitter baby mama, as they say, I informed her that I was going to put the trust in another financial institution.
Mhm.
And that's when the mayhem started.
Wow.
The fiduciary, who's a mandated court reporter, over a 2-year period tried to get me evicted from a home, threatened to take my pay away, called DHS 24 times,
Oh,
bad faith report, and they knew it. When Department of Health and Human Services found out that they were listening to fraud, basically, they did nothing, stopped communication with me. And I'm speaking to the heads of the departments and stuff. The UCCJEA, which is jurisdiction, when I found out that my son was in Arizona, I contacted CPS in Arizona, and they were given a statement of bad faith from my ex-wife, who lied to them and said I had no involvement with children and all this other stuff, which should have just stopped everything right there, but it didn't. And they just basically ignored me. And they still are. I'm still fighting for my son. He's been abused. He's under abuse in Arizona under the care of CPS. I've got a 684-page email chain of his abuse and what's been going on with him. His guardian ad litem had filed a suit on behalf of him, which happened, a little over a month ago. And I brought up the ADA Title II, Section 504.
Yeah.
Because he's in need. He's being abused. And, between the bank, who is still his fiduciary, and controlling things in Arizona now, there's still nothing being done. And like I said, my son's been put through hell. He's been being abused. He got abused here at Morrison Center in Windham, which is why the facility's closed now. If you understand it, it closed in 2024. right before the public announcement of Maine's investigation and their violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah,
Because
Maine doesn't follow that so much.
Oh, I know. Well, they're removing children from their families, children of special needs, because they get more money.
Of course they are.
This is all about funding.
Of
Okay,
course it
so
is.
children in poverty or that they remove, they only get probably about $1,000 a month federal funding, but
Mhm.
special needs they get $3,500 a month.
Right.
So we're looking at an average of 450 kids a year that they're removing from families when they're supposed to be implementing these programs to help everyone.
Yep. And they
And
get
help
lots
these
and lots of
families.
money for this stuff. They get tons of money in the system for these things. Reunification is supposed to be the goal in all of these
It
funding.
is.
And it's absolutely not the case. Have you tried to contact the governor?
I've contacted everyone.
Yeah.
They've blocked me out. They've shut me out. I mean, it was to the point where when I was claiming jurisdiction in Maine,
Mhm.
a judge here, and actually look right behind me, that's the courthouse.
Yeah.
A judge ignored my claim for jurisdiction. Now
Wow.
these people are moving on a bad faith report from my ex-wife, her statement, and 24 bad faith reports from the from the fiduciary, and there's not one trace of evidence of neglect from the pediatricians, school, anybody that knows my children, the investigator who investigated me 24 times. There's no evidence of any neglect or maltreatment or abuse on my end.
Yeah.
And my son's trust, my son's trust, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble,
Yeah.
but my son's trust, which started at $5.2 million, is what should have been upwards of between 10 and 14 million,
Yeah.
is now only worth 1.2 million.
Oh, so they're tapping that. They're tapping that good, huh?
Yeah, because the Katie Beckett program, the thing about the Katie Beckett program is when the trust is started under that special needs, it's accrue interest
Yeah.
until the.
Oh, Corey. Come back to us, Corey. Dana, can you believe the amount of money that this state takes in from the children that they take?
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Oh, there he is. We got him back.
Okay. So, like I said, that's where the whole problem comes in, because what this banking institution has done, in my opinion, well, not even in my opinion, it's just just from his total. They're doing something with his funds. And this is the largest banking institution in the state of Maine. So the insurance thing about his policy and his trust is it never should have went below 5.2 million, which is what it was started with. So now I'm going against that and fighting that. But I've been shut down by Maine special needs, everyone that I've contacted, people who are supposed to handle these things are blatantly telling me that they just don't do that when it's clearly written on their page and what their agenda is and what they're supposed to do. It's crazy.
Oh,
That's just crazy,
8 things
man.
to know about Maine's. How does Maine spend its money? I'm looking this up here. Maine audit finds 74 deficiencies across state, including 1.6 billion spent on contracts, many which were approved late. Yeah, they're not ADA compliant whatsoever in any aspect of the state.
Oh no, they actually went to the federal judge here in Portland and asked for leniency. And why they did what they did with my son is when that was announced, when a couple months before the announcement from the ADA and the result of their audit, my son, that's when the abuse happened with my son.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So they did it. They covered that up because of the announcement coming from the Supreme Court and the ADA, they knew what was going to happen because I knew what was going to happen in April because I get Supreme Court decisions sent to me, and it shocks me when USA v. Maine pops up.
Yeah, well, check this out. Watch this video clip, Dayton. Check this out. Watch this thing here. Put that up here. Share this. Watch this. Check this out. Well, not me. We don't want to watch me. We want to watch this. And Mr. Baines in the back, too. Check this out.
New tonight, the governor is responding to claims from the White House of potentially mishandled money here in Maine.
An audit released by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services claims Maine improperly spent about $45 million. CBS 13 Sam DeCoste read that audit today. He joins us now live in studio.
And Sam, the federal government sent a letter to the governor about this just last week.
That's right. And last week, CMS Director Dr. Oz sent a letter to Governor Janet Mills and the commissioner of the Maine DHHS. Mills got that letter. She calls it a political attack by the federal government. But Dr. Oz and Maine Republicans claim some state programs are lacking proper oversight, and now Dr. Oz is threatening to withhold federal funding.
It looks like another governor left the cash register unattended, and criminals help themselves to your hard-earned money.
Medicaid in Maine under the microscope. A federal report investigated Medicaid spending for rehabilitative and community support services, otherwise known as RCS, which provides support for children diagnosed with autism. Out of 100 random sample cases during the 2023 calendar year, the audit claims each case showed evidence of improper or potentially improper spending.
I mean, you're talking about a 100% fraud rate here.
Of the $45 million allegedly misspent by the state, more than $28 million was federal money. The federal government claims these payments did not meet certain requirements and that there were missing signatures, documents, or credentials. Maine Republicans, including Billy Bob Falkingham, believe investigations like this one prove a federal crackdown is needed to prevent fraud not just in Maine, but nationwide.
How did this much negligence happen? How were you so oblivious to the lack of transparency in this billing process? There's 49 other states that run these programs. You know, Maine isn't unique. We shouldn't be having a problem here.
As part of the audit, the federal government is asking Maine DHHS to refund the federal share of Medicaid payments which did not comply with federal and state requirements, as well as complete a statewide review of Medicaid payments for state autism services and provide additional training to providers on documentation. Governor Mills says the state takes fraud suspicion seriously. In a statement, she said in part, quote, "My administration has implemented new and unprecedented licensing requirements for Medicaid providers, prioritized audits, and worked directly with state and federal authorities to hold accountable individuals who attempt to defraud our state."
We also heard from the commissioner of the Maine DHHS, and she says the department regularly audits programs to ensure state and federal compliance, and that any suspicions of fraud go to the Office of the Attorney General. She says the department plans to review and respond to Dr. Oz's letter. It's unclear when that response could happen. In studio, Sam DeCoste, CBS 13 News. Greg, over to you.
All right, Sam.
You know, if you look up the history, you can see right now that look up when Morrison Central and Wyndham was closed, which is their flagship center. Okay, they have one in Scarborough as well. Now look up when that was closed. Did that make news? It did not make news. You know why it didn't make news? Because of the abuse that was going on, and the fact that they had a father like me who was willing to fight tooth and nail for his child. That's why they assisted with the parental abduction of my son to another state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't even know, until the investigator got in contact with me about my parental rights, telling me that they were 100% intact. I was kind of taken aback. So I called the Maine ombudsman. And
yeah, good luck with that.
He verified that they're 100% intact. So, you know, they know what's going on. You have to understand, they've been abducting children for profit for 51 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we don't know any different because we're not taught that. We think that this is the way that it's supposed to be. But, you know, and I gave them a few years leeway, but we're looking at $3.032 billion that they've gotten since in the past 40 years.
Holy shit! How much is that? 3.032.
$3.032 billion for special needs, and it's $1.62 billion for children with just impoverished families that they've taken away. Now the audit that the DOJ did was 94% wrongful removal, incomplete investigations. So these families, their children were supposed to be returned within a month of that determination and the adjudication from the Supreme Court. Were they? Who knows? I know mine wasn't, and I know they contacted my ex-wife and let her abscond with my son, and then drop him off to another agency that's still abusing him.
Wow.
I brought this up on a hearing in Arizona, and the judge ignored me. You know what they said before the court got in session? I was on audio, and I could hear the heads of departments of CPS in Arizona going, well, you know, he escaped again. Oh, well, you know, they found my son in the middle of the street in Tucson, Arizona, naked at 4:30 in the morning when he's supposed to be under watch and care. You know, he's supposed to be taking his medication. He's supposed to be going to hospital appointments. They found the medication that's supposed to be in his bloodstream and his system. It's not there because they're not giving him his medication. They're not taking him to his appointments. They're constantly canceling them. When does it end?
If you did that, then that would be a whole different game. Here's another guy.
I'd be under a courthouse somewhere.
Or a jail, yeah, absolutely. Here's Thomas Bain. He's no oh shit, my brain just broke there. I was gonna say. But he knows all about this too. Mr. Bain.
How y'all doing?
How we doing, Mr. Bain?
Man, hanging in there. Wow, man. That's a lot right there. Listen, Corey,
that was just a piece of it.
Oh, I understand. I totally understand. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Tell everybody Mr. Bain, tell everybody real briefly what they did to you.
I mean, it would be hard to start all the way at the beginning, but I'll tell you what, there's been some more stuff. So in 2017, I reported a caseworker in Morgan County, Alabama, Morgan County DHR. Her name was Buffy Morgan. Reported a sexual assault that I witnessed her do. And I also, she falsified my name in a safety plan that removed my own child from me. So she ends up getting fired, right? So she goes to work in the Morgan County, Alabama courthouse. And so this excerpt is from the book, and it talks about the sexual assault and whatnot and what happened. But so long story short, she's been falsifying my NCIC across the country, 4 different states, Mississippi, Missouri, Maine, and Colorado. And, you know, I have documents. They not only falsified it to Colorado, but also the Colorado Bureau of Investigation when they investigated my complaint. And, you know, long story short, we end up here in Maine. For those of, I moved to Colorado to get these kids some therapy, to get them some good schooling. This was before 2020. We had dealt with so much harassment. And my oldest son, who was kidnapped as an infant, is kidnapped on April 11th of 2020 during COVID by the non-custodial parent. And I'm sure that, you know, she expected to get away with it because of COVID. But, you know, I end up leaving Colorado, and just how crazy life is. We had a caseworker named Robin Nasita, Arapahoe County, Colorado CPS worker. Just Google her. She's actually in prison right now. Yeah. So that's what a gem that was. So decided to, with talking, I have a special needs son as well. And talking with his great therapist. I mean, it was the only thing I really didn't want to leave Colorado was because of the therapy there. But he writes this thing that, you know, this child can't be around this CPS harassment. So we get the main, and boom, right off the bat, it starts again. And unfortunately, they convinced the Androscoggin County District Attorney that I was a cop killer this time. And it gets worse.
Hold on.
Now, do they have any affidavits or any affidavits of truth supporting them?
Oak Grove Police Department Police Report number OG 25-00282.
So what does that have to do with the fight for tea in China? Because, you know, I don't know if you know, but family court judges can no longer defer to the Department of Health and Human Services or any code, statute, or rule that is on the books from those departments.
That's using Chevron. That's using Chevron.
But that's what it falls to stare decisis.
All I'm saying that I'm talking about the harassment that I've gone through, and at the end of the day, you know, they shot up my house with me in it. I think somebody else on this panel knows what that's like. You know, I was assaulted. A police officer pulled his pistol, put it towards my head. Spent 4 days naked in the Androscoggin County Jail, and this is just consistent. And what it you know, to me, you know, I go down fighting for my kids. It don't make a
Yep.
I just, that's how I'm wired. You know,
I go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, they when they blew up my house, this is the shotgun. They claimed it was a 9-hour standoff. Wasn't even 19 minutes. This is the shotgun they left with a case of ammo, and now the Maine State Police saying they weren't even there.
You file in 1983. I'm currently putting all my paperwork together. I've got over 1,500 pages of evidence and documentation because all my stuff started happening around COVID as well. So the time frame is right there, especially with the ADA investigation. They're trying to cover their asses. Okay? But see, if you don't file something federally, you're keeping the ball in their court. Like right now, I've got them dead to rights because they think that they're so infallible to rules that they're supposed to follow. Okay, that they gave me all the information that I need to incriminate themselves. I've got them for ADA violation, deception as a tool, interstate rights, interstate compact, wrongful detention. You have to go this federally because if you do anything throughout the state, because the whole state is compromised, my friend.
Yes, I know
it is compromised.
And how do you plan on getting around? How do you plan on getting around Rooker Feldman when you bring your claim?
Because anything once they violate due process and an unalienable right, which you have to understand that every state is in treaty with the Constitution.
You can't use your child custody in a federal case. They will not hear it. They will throw it right out under the Rooker Feldman guides.
It's not a custody dispute. It's a civil rights dispute.
Even
under
to
the Parental Rights Act.
Get the information. Even to
under
get the information, they're using that. Even to get the information.
The Parental Rights Act in America. The ADA Title II, Chapter 504, with Americans with Disabilities Act, the Parental Rights Act, and both state of Maine and the Parental Rights Act federally. Okay, when they reversed the Chevron deference and Loper Bright, that opened everything up because no district court judge can any longer defer to those as law. Okay, and stare decisis in 2023. The American Bar Association sent out, you can look this up right now too, sent out information about stare decisis and precedents and super precedents. So they, district court judges have to defer to a superior ruling, which is the Supreme Court. They have no choice now. But if we don't hold them to that federally.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, look, I've done many 1983s, and most of them get kicked back by the Rooker-Feldman guys. Because my whole point of me telling you that was I was going to tell you about a case law that you do beat Rooker-Feldman with, and that's called Maroth versus Trinity. So make sure that you put that in your case, because otherwise they are going to kick your case back, because you're not allowed to use custody issues in the federal courts. They won't hear it. Because this is a custody issue that you right. So you cannot use that evidence. This Maroth versus Trinity case is that opened it up so that you can.
No, I know. I'm not using custody.
Right, but your argument is about
it's child endangerment.
Okay.
The custody. The thing about it is the removal of my children, which stems from my son. The Department of Justice already found the state of Maine guilty under those 94%.
Right.
They had no information of any type of abuse from me. It's not a custody thing. Because I had custody of my children when they took them from me, but they wrongfully removed under the ADA under disability, which nothing was wrong. This isn't a custody issue. It's a disability act issue and safety issue with under the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right. And then you know who's their designated responsible employee, all of that stuff. I know all about the ADA very well. I'm filing the ADA suit right now, actually, for my own behalf. I know all about those things. But the thing is, what's your constitutional question when you go to the federal courts?
Due process.
Okay.
Okay,
based on removal, correct? Based on removal. So what I'm getting at here is
due process based on evidence. They have no evidence. They have the 24 bad faith reports, which they don't have in evidence because they never released them to me. They didn't even release them in court. They have no testimony of anything other than the fiduciary and the trust of my son's trust and my ex.
You know, if you can get this to win, if you can make this stick and make it opened up so that you can get your kid back, you'd be setting the way for a lot of people. You know,
because it's under the Barney A precedent. That's what Maine got. That's what their violation. That's where the violation stemmed from, was the Barney A precedent, and it was pretty much the same thing as the removal of my son, but the additional thing was the fact of the parental kidnapping or parental abduction, and
you're right about that.
And they assisted with it. They knew about it. I have a friend who's worked for DHS in Maine for over 30 years. Like I said, and she was getting me in contact with the heads of department, and she's someone who's very close to me and has seen my history and has helped me out with a lot of things with my son and my family when my ex was, deserting the family and whatnot.
Right.
But but their lack of jurisdiction and the fact that the home state rule, that they violated the home state rule, is just evidence, because it's not evidence, but it's preponderance.
Mm-hmm. Featherweight.
Because preponderance, custodial interference.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at the Constitution for the state of Maine, and the fact that they don't even give people summary preliminary hearings is ridiculous.
Yeah. In fact,
they need. Yeah, they're supposed to understand that collateral contact. These are medical professionals, law enforcement, mental health experts, school officials. They have to have evidence from these people under a sworn affidavit, and they don't meet that criteria, which violates due process.
Mm-hmm.
And due process of law
is a constitutional argument.
Exactly. And that's both for the child and the parent.
Yeah.
Because the state is in treaty with the Constitution. So all state law, rules, and codes are supposed to abide by the Constitution.
Must be constitutionally compliant. Yes, 100%.
And a treaty is higher. It's above a law. It's above a state code. It's above a state statute. And like I said, with the stare decisis, these people, these government entities, they have no choice but to abide by Supreme Court ruling because it's case law.
Well, because of supremacy clause.
Yes.
You know, case law. Everybody forgets case law is not law. Case law is an opinion, and not if case law only works for you if you were using case law from your district, because the judges don't have to use that as an opinion.
But they if it's a Supreme Court decision,
right?
They have no
if it's
choice.
A Supreme Court one, right? If it's a Supreme Court one, but I'm saying that these people that take these other case laws from District 9 and things like that, they think that it stands weight in the courts up here in Maine, which is District 1. No, it doesn't. They don't have to even remotely even look at that case law.
Yep. But that's what I try to tell people. The second a constitutional question comes into play, take it out of their ball court. File an SF-95. 1983. Yeah, Standard Form 95. That's the Standard Form 95 is what begins your complaint for a federal suit. But you have to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but
you do.
Like I said, the second that they do that, that opens them up to a federal review.
Have you ever gone after the IRS and reported the fraud?
I was thinking about doing that, but I'm going against 2 states right now.
Right. Yeah.
And
get that.
Like a full-time
because I'm RICO acting both states.
Oh boy.
And actually
he brought up the R word, Dana.
Oh no, but I've done a legal chat GPT. I've got a legal assistant that helped me, that actually put this all together for me.
Be careful.
Well, the thing about it is, I didn't know anything. I put a report that was the report from the investigation on the Department of Health and Human Services through DOJ. And that put Arizona and Maine together.
Right.
And then the court hearing that I had.
Yep.
The court date that I had, my son's fiduciary, who's still running his trust here in Maine, is controlling the trust while he's in Arizona.
That's crazy.
That brings enterprise.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is,
now you just need to show where the money is.
That's what I'm trying to find out. They're even the FOIAs that I put in, they're just not being answered. But the thing about it, what makes my case a little different also is I was a paid care provider for my son through his trust through the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I have emails of her threatening not to pay me if I don't move out of this house or if I don't do this. I had a house that was paid off. They forced me to sell it.
Wow.
Which brings in a whole nother plethora of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's wire fraud.
Yep. Mail fraud, wire fraud, the whole damn 9.
Yes, which brings it into a criminal RICO. And I don't care about announcing this stuff because what can they do to me that they already haven't?
Right. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Once they take your kid.
A lot of people that I try to help in various ways tell me that they fear repercussions for speaking out. And
that's what an attorney told me. I called 33 law firms, and the first one I called was a defense attorney who represented me on some false allegations that from my ex-wife of abuse and domestic violence, which they found out to be untrue because it was. I got put through a year of hell. And then finally I had to go see a psychiatrist because this judge wanted to put me away, and I spoke with the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist talked to me for 15 minutes, wrote a letter to the judge, and I didn't have to go to court the next morning. Everything was adjudicated, record wiped. But
Yeah.
he told me he was the last one that I called, and I was like, listen, I go, I just need you to facilitate a settlement agreement. You know, I want my kid back. I want, you know, what's due me because of what was taken. I go, and that's all you have to put together, because it was a accelerated settlement under the guise of a 1983. It was a case that happened in Tennessee, and he goes, Corey, I can't touch you. He goes, everyone knows. He goes, I have to work in the state. Were his words.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the amount of money that is going into all this, and what they've done. And like I said, this all happened before, and like a couple months before, and still going on after the Supreme Court decision. And the thing about it is Arizona went through the same shit. And I brought that up to the judge, and he ignored me. You know what it said? I go, when I got the court minutes, it said, Father said words. It didn't talk about the half hour that I spent talking to them about, you know, the Americans with Disabilities Act and the wrongful removal and the fraud, which started with their whole statement from my ex-wife that I proved was fraud. It was a fraudulent statement. They're still ignoring it because of the amount of money that's into all this, and that's what we're going against, guys. I mean, we're, you know, how much funding, you know, the state. That's why all these attorneys now are moving from criminal law to family. Because of closed
they need
court.
to stop that, because this needs to go. This family courts need to go to criminal law. That's the only way that this is going to change it out. We need to get into the criminal law courts.
And that's the thing. If they're gonna charge you criminally and put you in jail for child support and things like that, why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be criminal? But they step between this line called pseudo court. These so-called pseudo courts, to use what they want to use when they want to use them. But that all was supposed to stop because of the Loper Bright. Well, that's because they didn't. Nobody understands the power and the sheer meaning of what happened behind Loper Bright. Look up deference. Look up deference in the state of Maine and what judges are supposed to defer to now. They're obligated. Yeah. They're obligated to constitutional law. They're obligated to case law. They're obligated to any decision that has been made that's similar to your case that's higher than their decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power behind stare decisis and nisi prius. Because all it is a rule nisi.
I had put in that page the other day. I just put in here to explain to everybody. My app is the CPS Punisher app, and it's strictly for CPS cases. Well, you can use it for other things, but it's right here. I just asked it what Rooker Feldman would do, and it brought up right here. It told me exactly. And you're right, with the American with Disabilities, they can't, that will exclude them from the Rooker Feldman ruling. But this gives you the whole thing. And it's immunity
as well.
It says if you need to attack the judgment, do it in the state court. Rule 60, we already know that. Separate track, state court, vacate federal damages, common high percentage strategy. But where was it? I need you to surgical means specific. Are you trying to title federal? Where is it here? I just want to bring it up where it tells you what the main CPS. Let's see. Skinner versus Switzer. It says is important because it explains the distinctions. A federal claim is not barred just because it implies that state court was wrong. What matters is whether you are seeking review of the judgment itself versus challenging an independent legal wrongdoing. You should check out my app.
I definitely will. I wish I'd known that you would had it, 4 years ago when this whole thing started.
Well, it's only been out for about 6 months now, but this is strictly CPS, man. So make sure that you check this thing out. And
that's what I've been dealing with CPS throughout this whole thing. Like this whole venture started 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long one for sure for me too. Hey guys, I want to show you Mr. Baines. I want to show you the news report about Mr. Baines while we got him right here. I want you guys to see what they said about what he had just said, but you guys got to see what they said. And Mr. Baines, remember you said that they said that the state police weren't there?
Yeah, that's what the state police told me.
Yeah, it's funny now because it's right here in your thing too, right?
Yeah.
Check this out.
Main Street in Lisbon is back open after a nearly 9-hour standoff that began yesterday afternoon. Lisbon police say they received a report of a domestic violence assault just before 3:30. Officers evacuating neighbors as a tactical team moved in. Officials were able to safely take 53-year-old Thomas Bain into custody early this morning. He was taken to the hospital to be evaluated. He faces multiple charges, including terrorizing and creating a police standoff.
There he was. That's him.
All
My
charges.
God.
All charges.
Defamation.
Yeah.
After sitting in
That's a
jail
defamation
for a year,
case.
all charges dropped.
And that's the proof that you need to file in 1983. Did they make you sign any paperwork?
I'm in the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit, and it's Fourth Amendment due process, but it's Bain v. Joyce because they hid me in the Cumberland County Jail, and I want to say something about that in just a second. But the case number in the First Circuit is 26-1327. And, you know, what they did, I sat in jail for a year, lost everything I had. My home was destroyed. My motorcycle parts stolen, all kinds of bullshit. But
they hid me too in Cumberland County for 3 months.
Yeah, well, they hit me for a year, and then, you know, it's just unbelievable. They perjured themselves in court, which, by the way, maybe they didn't. They said I had a bulletproof vest, which is not illegal. But, you know, I've never owned one, but, you know, they can admit to perjury or give me a new vest. I don't care.
What law did you break? See, that's the thing. That's the thing. What law did you break? Make them prove the law.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's
Make them prove the law.
They, you know, with these judges and whatnot, they don't follow the law.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to explain. If you play in their court, they control everything. That's why you have to take it out of their court. This federal court judge here in Maine, they're done with Cumberland County. They're done with the state of Maine and their violations of children's rights, parental rights, due process, especially after when they went in there with asking for leniency. Because under the ADA, that's what you have to use as your power, brother. The ADA. Yeah. And the judge laughed at him and was like, "Are you serious? 450 kids a year, 11 deaths a year. That's just the state of Maine."
Yeah, well, and that's horrible because of the population here is minimal, you know, compared to other states, and then you have such a high number. These you know, when I moved here with my son, and I came from Colorado, where I had a lot of resources as far as mental health help goes. I get here, I'm still on the waiting list, and I moved here in September of 21. I mean,
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just it's insane.
It is, and that's another thing that was brought up in the decision. You should read that decision from that audit. The United States v. Maine 2024. That's when it came out, but it started the audit started in 2022.
That talks about the federal money.
That talks about the state violations. Department of Health and Human Services.
I've read that.
The Department of Health and Human Services and their violations of the ADA, and also removing special needs children from their families in the state of Maine, unlawfully. 94%. Incomplete investigations. You know,
Well,
it's
you know, look, I saved this from jail because this newspaper ain't worth buying, but I got a free copy in the mornings, and it says number of kids in state custody continues to fall. Now, what bullshit?
because they're shipping them out of state.
It's horrible what they're doing. They're doing it purposely. They're doing it for profit, and man, it's the destruction of the family. They do not try to reinstate. In fact, they're trying to. Man, they're jerking my kids around so bad, but you know they've been through the fire and they're strong, and I have faith in them. So I'm not worried. My oldest son went through this shit all his life, and this kid turned out amazing, just amazing. And
But there's nothing stronger than the family dynamic, my friend.
That's true. That's true, and that's why they're trying to destroy it.
Exactly, because they need this funding. It serves, you know, the statistics of children who are in the system and how they end up feed federal funding, feed states for federal funding. It's a perpetual beast that keeps feeding itself.
Yep.
They know the outcome. They know what happens.
Well, you know, that state insurance they got here for all these state workers, you know, that's best insurance package I've ever seen, because when they took my kids, I applied for a job because I have a lot of credentials. I went through the interview process and all that. They gonna offer me a job. I got a job offer letter from them. They gonna take my kids, give me a job taking other people's kids.
I just posted a video about that today. I went live on Facebook today and said these people will give up their own children as long as it feeds their priority and their end game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, what are you saying about all this, Dana? What do you guys feel about the ICE thing that's going on?
Oh, yes. I got something to say about that. So I was in the Cumberland County Jail, right, when they took that other guy that was here illegally. Now, this guy would throw away food in front of hungry people. He would spray his face in the cell with the door closed with the inmates in the cell. That is the kind of person. These people talking about, oh, well, you know, he ain't done nothing. You don't know what he's done in another country. I mean, you have no idea what his history is. And, all he did was jump the border. Nah, if I jumped the border, I'd be in deep shit. But
I called everybody out. I called everybody out. Just from the investigation of the DOJ on Maine. I called everybody out. I was like, you guys want to be disgusted by something? I go, you know, people get unalived of all colors, get unalived by police hundreds, thousands of times a year. Is there an uproar about that? No, there isn't. But right under your noses, this government agency, the state agency, are kidnapping your kids for profit. And you're not pissed off about it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I was like, y'all disgust me.
Nobody cares until it happens to them.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
I was like, you just want to jump on this bandwagon. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you fight for your friends' children?
Yeah.
Why don't you fight for the children who are getting taken away from their families and the mental and physical abuse that's happening to them that's going to last a lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
And you're worried about illegal aliens getting unalive. Get your fucking priorities straight.
Mm-hmm. You got that right. That's the best thing I've heard tonight so far on this. That's good stuff.
Ridiculous.
Yep. I mean, how do you get these people that aren't affected by it? They don't get involved until it's too late. You know, that's what the problem is. That's what happens.
But they're quick to jump on a bandwagon that's going to get them some kind of attention by protesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure is. Let's go help these people, but we're not going to help my neighbor that the kid got taken. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Mr. Bain, Corey, thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's keep in
Thank you.
contact. I want to hit you guys up. Let's
Yeah, we'll be here.
put our heads together.
Step by step.
And
Whenever
Mr. Bain,
any step taken
Yeah.
in your case,
Let's-
let us know immediately.
let's all get together collectively. Maybe let's start putting a class action together for this shit.
We'll do something.
I
Absolutely.
like
We'll
it.
get in touch. All right, Mr. Bain. I'll talk to you soon too, my brother. Corey,
All
thank
right.
you very much,
Y'all
buddy. Have a
stay
good
safe.
night.
Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
sir. All right, Dana. Well, that was a nice little segment.
Good stuff.
What do you
Yeah.
got, Dana? Let's
You know, I
talk
hope
about some
people
name
pay-
matters.
I hope people pay attention because it's like the thing I keep saying over and over again is that in quantity we are very strong, and the problem is that we're not united. We're divided by all kinds of stupid, meaningless crap: skin color, religion, gay or straight, anything they can do to keep us divided, they do, and we can't keep letting that happen. We gotta fight for each other. You know, if I don't fight for you, you won't fight for me, and you know, it's got to be a group effort. So, yeah.
But that's the thing, though. How do we turn people on that aren't a part of this movement? Because they only become a part of this movement, the CPS movement, I'm saying, is if they get action is brought to them, right? And I think that's with any sort of political outcry. You don't get involved in it until it involves you. You, on the other hand, are a different person. You got involved with this fight. I don't want to say because of me, but through me, I think, you know, like your kids aren't taken, you know, like, I know you knew about it and everything, but you became more active about the CPS fight and the kidnapping thing. I think once you and I started, you know, talking and becoming friends,
100%. Yeah.
but you stuck with it. And now here you are, you know, and that's the great thing. But how do we get more people? How do you've been trying to get the sheriff's unions and everything together for hundreds of years, and you've seen me, even that's hard for you, right? Like, it's just hard to get groups of people together, but why?
Listen, I hate to be a naysayer, but this is where it falls apart every time. When the COVID scam was thrust upon us, I embarked on a campaign to unite specific groups of people across America that it seemed to me this would be an easy home run. So, for example, I created a group called Constitutional Pastors, and I began looking for pastors who would sign on to that, lend their word, their effort, you know, organize, work together as a group to defend our Constitution and our Republic. And I had zero luck. Okay, zero luck. Not one pastor was willing to make that effort, join that effort, lead that effort. It was dead in the water. I made an attempt to unite the sheriffs of America, constitutional sheriffs. I created a website called americasconstitutionalsheriffs.org. I put a forum software program on there so that the sheriffs of America could post. The sheriffs of America are the backbone of this nation, and they could save us because the sheriffs have more authority than anyone else. The sheriff is the supreme law enforcement authority in his or her county. No one outranks them. No one. And that's by design, because we, the people, elect the sheriffs to represent us and to protect our God-given and constitutionally protected rights. And I had almost no luck with that. I had 2 sheriffs in the entire nation that actually signed on. I sent letters to about 100 sheriffs all across the country, and only a handful of them wrote back to me. Former Sheriff Mark Lamb of Arizona wrote me a nice letter. Sheriff Scott Nichols of Franklin County, who is one of the only sheriffs in America that spoke out against the unlawful and unconstitutional actions taken by our governor during the COVID scam. And Sheriff Dar Leaf of Berry County, Michigan, and he also is one of the only sheriffs in America that spoke out against the unconstitutional actions taken by the then governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, who acted unconstitutionally. All of them did. All the lockdowns were unconstitutional, unlawful, and all those people that did those things perjured their oaths and should have been immediately arrested. But we, the people, just don't know our power. We don't know how to use it. We don't know how to organize and act collectively. And, you know, I've been entirely unsuccessful. And I'm not giving up, but I'm not going to, you know, blow smoke up anyone's ass and tell them that, oh, yeah, this is, you know, going to be easy or there's some magic solution. I don't know what it is, Darren. You know, I really don't. And I'm frustrated and I'm angry because people are so freaking apathetic, so willing to just sit around and do nothing. And then when a guy like me comes along, or you who wants to take action, we're saying, all right, listen, we've had enough. We need to do something, and let's do this. Let's try this. And what happens to me, which I'm sure probably happens to you as well, is you got a whole group of people that have been doing nothing and not willing to participate and not willing to take an action step on their own. But when someone like me comes along and says, hey, let's do this, some yahoo immediately jumps up and goes, oh, that won't work. Oh, no, you're wasting your time. That won't help. They don't care. They just shoot you down. So there's one guy shooting you down. The rest of them don't say a word, don't get involved, aren't willing to help or do anything. It's 1 out of 1,000 people that's actually willing to do something. And that's just unfortunately the situation we're in. It sucks, but that's where we are, brother. Sorry.
Well, then no one has the right to bitch, right?
They don't care. They do it anyway. That's the problem.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? Like these people
when their interests are threatened, then they get mad. Then they'll be all like, "Oh, wow, someone should do something."
But Dana, you are the king of saying your rights are mine or mine are yours. So they do get affected if they were not.
Yes.
They unplug their heads.
Yes.
You know, if they just like my house getting blown up in the town coming in and taking over our land. Well, if they can do it to me, they can do it to you.
Yep.
But people don't look at it this way.
Nope.
They're like, oh, that poor shitbag. Oh, poor is him. Well, you know, sucks to be him, I think is the
Sorry,
same.
man. I'm glad I'm not you.
Right.
Woo-hoo.
You know, which many people say that about me all the time. You know.
I've never said that, Darren. I've never said I'm glad I'm not you.
Yeah, Sam says the passion comes from the outrage of experience. And I agree with that. But
Absolutely.
how do we get people to share that passion, I guess, or that outrage that you have?
Yeah. Either one, both.
How do you become a defensive mechanism? Right. How do you become, instead of being a defensive mechanism, how do you become an offensive mechanism? I guess. Like everybody wants to rally when there's a problem, but no one wants to rally to prepare themselves for the problem.
Right. Or to help the guy who has the problem if it's not your problem.
Right.
It's not hurting you.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing, is we need to get together as groups and be preemptive on these things and look for these things to help thy neighbor, to help each other, you know, whether it's just lifting them up by some words or, you know, whatever it is. There's all kinds of actions that you can take that will inspire and stop someone from making that ultimate decision one day to not be on this earth anymore. But people are in such a damn hurry and only are so absorbed now. People, you know, oh, well, whatever. You know, just even waving to a person can be something that you do every day. When you see someone walking down the road, you wave to them, and that could be the difference. That guy could be sitting there lonely as hell, lost everything, and because someone just gave that, you know, wave to him, that made him just realize that someone does care about him or something, and that stops him from doing whatever he was going to do or whatever. Like, people don't realize how simple it is to do something for the good of ourselves and of this country. But yet you don't need to be an organizer of a parade and a concert and all of this stuff to prepare people and prepare yourself for what is to come. You know, you don't have to do those things. It's very simple.
That's an important issue, Darren, is that it takes very little time to do something. Like, you don't have to you know, dedicate 20 hours a week or 30 or 40 hours a week to being a good American. And it takes maybe, you know, a few minutes to write a letter. And people always say, I'm so tired of, well, letters don't work. Letters don't matter. That is false. One letter doesn't really do too much. Okay. 2 letters, a little bit more. 5 letters starts getting attention. 10 letters, 100 letters, you know, and I've offered to write these. I've said to people, I tried to help several people that were experiencing injustices by writing letters. And typically I get told, don't interfere, you'll make it worse. That's usually the first thing. Don't interfere, you'll make it worse. They don't want me to help. They don't want me to do anything. They trust themselves to the bar attorneys and they get screwed. And I'm like, man, you're getting screwed and you're telling me not to help you. Like, you know, if everyone had written the letter, if everyone who saw this and felt the outrage about what was happening to you said, well, this is a pretty decent letter. I like what this says, more or less what I wanted to say. So I'll print a copy, put at the bottom that this letter was written by Dana, the Angry Citizen, but I agree with what he says, and I'm standing right with him. Signed, Bob Smith of Auburn, Maine. Send that. How long does that take? It takes very little time to help. It takes very little time to throw in your weight behind someone else. Do you know why people fear bees, ants, right? One ant is no big deal, right? If you walk in your kitchen, you see an ant crawling across your counter, no one freaks out, right? Oh my God, an ant, I'm dying, right?
Right.
But you show pictures. There was a friend of mine who lives down in the southern part of the state who saw just this giant swarm of ants, and she took a picture of it and put it up on Facebook. Now, I'm not afraid of bugs. I like them. I think they're kind of cool. But most people do have a kind of an aversion to seeing like a swarm of insects. It's the power of that swarm, the power of that colony. When an ant colony is assaulted in any way, no ant has to be told what to do. No ant has to have someone say, hey, Francine, go unblock the entrance over at the north side of the colony. It needs help. They just do it immediately. Whatever needs to be done, boom, they're on it, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
If we, the people, did that, all these problems would be fixed, guaranteed. And that's one of my greatest frustrations, Darren, is the fact that people can't seem to see this, and they're not willing to take 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes, to throw in on some worthy cause, regardless of whether you like the person in charge. No worries about who gets the credit or who gets to look good or who gets to hold the press conference or who gets to be the president and CEO of the, wehelppeople.org or whatever. It's not about that, man. It's about, all of us standing together, protecting our rights and doing what it takes to protect our rights. And both of the guests had a lot of the same experiences in terms of confronting the people in charge. The people in charge get away with these things because we don't hold them accountable. So why would they stop doing it if they've gotten away with it every single time? We have to hold them accountable. We have to have criminal charges filed against these people, every single one of them. And we could do it if we decided to do it. Everyone signed on board. Yes, I will help. I will do what it takes. We would see it happen. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, man, I'm telling you.
Yep.
I just wish that they would. I just wish that they could get that mentality around it, man.
Yep.
Because it's very damning, and it's very heartbreaking when you put all your heart and soul into this stuff, and then nobody picks up on it.
Yep.
And then your intentions go right out the pot on it.
Yep.
So it sucks. It really does suck.
Yep.
Let me see here. You got anything more on Maine, Dana, that you wanted to get out tonight?
I think we've covered enough for one session. We're at roughly the 1 hour mark, so we can wrap it up and we'll maybe do another one soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do another one very soon, because I think the people of Maine need to get out and they need to hear this stuff, and maybe you guys can even help us out there. You guys that are not in Maine, you can assist us in getting this state turned around. You never can tell what we could get out of listeners all over the world.
Yep.
I want to thank everybody for coming in and
share this.
Mm-hmm.
Send the link to someone if you think they might be interested in what Darren and I are saying, especially if you live in Maine. And let's see how much support we can get, how many people we can get in the same group and mentality, and maybe take some action steps to see if we can implement some positive changes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. I do want to see if I can't get a let me see here. Let's see if I can't get a compilation of what we talked about before. Compilation, that was the word.
Compilation, nice.
Today's word, compilation.
Words have power.
Words have power. Janet Mills. Janet Mills. Stupid comments. Let's see what she says. Do we get anything in here? Those launches candid conversation, campaign unison. killed my ice. This is, yeah, it doesn't really say. It doesn't have a compilation. Maybe this is something that we will have to come up with, Dana. Something that all of her little dumb comments that she says.
Yeah, we should do that. That's our homework, Darren, for next time.
Yeah, we will work on this, guys, to get you a compilation of Janet Mills saying stupid things. But as for everybody else, thank you guys for coming in tonight. We'll work on things. We'll get things better. It's our first show back. And we will, we'll make things happen, won't we, Dana?
Amen.
All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll be back next Friday. Right? Next Friday, right?
There you go.
All right. Next Friday, 7 o'clock.
Appreciate you.
Maine Matters. Appreciate you, Dana.
Appreciate you, Darren.
From Berwick to Bangor, Augusta to the coast, the truth is rising, and the rot is getting exposed. In the Pine Tree State, they got that fresh air facade, but dig a little deeper, it's a house of cards. Prison bosses stealing 2.4 million from the state, bribes and kickbacks while the inmates wait. Main care fraud, 45 million in autism scams, improper payments, Republicans raising alarms. EBT clones stealing benefits from the poor, while Augusta politicians keep asking for more. Cheryl Merrill sentence, but how many more free? The swamp in corrections running wild, you see? Then there's DHS, supposed to protect the kids, but Braxton Smith murdered in the system. Hid Chelsea killings, a team with 16 homes in the system, failed by the state, now 2 more victims. May Supreme Court saying they terminated rights on hearsay. Drug tests never entered, but they took the kids away. DHS mom in the abuse case, oversight of drug page saying clean house, the whole damn place broke. Child welfare failures, every week a new death, while they traffic kids in suits holding their breath. And in Berwick they burned us down and locked the gate. Fire at Raleigh's Run, 18 cats displaced. Town says dangerous, but won't let us in to save. Insurance denied, now they want the land we paid. Federal lawsuit filed, wavy Berwick on deck. 14th Amendment violations, they showing no respect. Gravel pit coming 20 trucks a day through town. Residents fighting back while the board plays around. Zoning as a weapon, nuisance complaints for show. Retaliation for the podcast, they tried to take my daughter, yo. Nina Ann lost to CPS, revenge for speaking truth, but the Punisher's here, and we got the proof. Maine matters, but the corruption don't. We see through the lies, we won't stay silent no more. Angry citizens spitting CPS, Punisher attacking, exposing the thieves in Augusta and the child snatchers in black. Rise up, man, grab the Constitution tight, due process, property rights. We taking back the fight from the pines to the sea, the reckoning's here. Maine matters, dropping tropes, lend us your ear. They deny access, they steal your kids, they fraud the funds, but we got the First Amendment. These words are guns, file the motions, drop the episodes, build the app strong. The CPS Punisher's here to right every wrong. No more dead kids, no more stolen homes, no more bribes in prisons of fraud in the domes. We the people, the angry ones who see time to drain the swamp in the state of Maine. G. This is Maine Matters with the angry citizen and the CPS Punisher. Download the app at cpspunisher.com. Follow the fight, share the truth, join the revolution. Because in Maine, the truth still matters. And we coming for the corrupt. One podcast.